All right, let me talk about LL Cool J, man. Is LL Cool J the GOAT, the greatest of all time? And I'm not talking about one of the GOATs. I'm not talking about one of the few GOATs. I'm talking about the greatest rapper of all time. Now, the reason I'm asking that is because I heard his album that just came out. It's called The Force. And when I tell you that's one of the best projects that I've heard in a while, see, it's only a couple of projects, his and Eminem's, that I've liked this year, as far as mainstream hip hop. Because if I say that these are the best albums that came out this year, y'all gonna be in the comments. You never heard of Lil Nut Nut? He got an album, not the independent rappers and the less known rappers. I'm talking about mainstream rappers. LL Cool J put out a solid body of work with and it was exclusively produced by Q-Tip from start to finish. Now, some songs are cool, but most of the songs are great. Lyrically, he's on another level. And LL is damn near 60, ain't he? Like 56, 57, something like that. So he's closer to 60 than he is 50, but spitting at a superb level. Y'all go and check out the album, The Force. My favorite song on there is called Passion. That Passion song is incredible. The song with Saweetie is incredible. The song with Nas and Busta's dope. The song with Snoop is dope, called Cyrus or The Mind of Cyrus or anything like that, or something like that. He's spitting at a high level. So the reason I'm bringing that up is because LL came out in the 80s. LL came out in the 80s. Now, is he putting out platinum and gold records these days? Nah. But for an artist, first of all, let's dive back. He went from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s. He went from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. No rapper from the 80s during that time lasted out of the 80s. I'm talking about on a high level. Run DMC, Big Daddy Kane, KRS. Well, KRS1 kind of, but when you think about being like the number one who will put up number one records and stuff, LL came out during that old school time. You know what I'm saying? Like the ancient, to feel like the ancient hip hop time. So he was able to transcend into the 90s, right? Rock the 90s out. Then he went into the 2000s, was able to usher that in, working with the Neptunes and stuff like that. And he ended up slowing down like with like 2006, 2007, and then hit wise. But him still being able to put out and delivering albums and still have his presence in the game. I mean, he was the first one. He even coined the term GOAT. I think his album was called GOAT. So that came from LL Cool J. So is he truly the GOAT? He's been performing at a high level since 1984 or something like that. Ain't that when his first album came out? I wasn't even alive when his first album. When did LL's first album come out? Hold on. Let me see. The album was called Radio. What year? 1985. He signed a Def Jam in 1984. I wasn't even alive when LL Cool J first came out. And this man is still rapping on a superb level. On Def Jam, by the way. He's on Def Jam. Collabing with Rick Ross, Fat Joe, Saweetie. Like, what 56-year-old rapper is doing that? He still has his presence. Now, is this album going to go platinum and stuff? Nah, but that don't really matter at this particular point. So I think it's debatable. First, I would say Jay-Z, because Jay-Z could drop an album today and it go platinum success-wise, stuff that he's done outside of music. But LL still has a hefty acting career, business deals. His albums just may not go platinum, or he don't make quote-unquote hit records, but he makes great music. So is he the greatest of all time? He came out in the 80s. Came out in the 80s. He's too busy being an ambassador for a whole. Oh, here we go with Drake, ambassador. But guess what? Who watches the World Cup? The World Cup has more viewership than the Super Bowl. Okay, then how come all the advertisements aren't on there? I've never watched the World Cup, period. The Super Bowl is who the advertisers go to. You're talking about the viewership as far as social media. We're not talking about social media. We're talking about the whole aspect of it. Nobody watches no damn World Cup like that. Not us. We don't watch that. He's an ambassador that who finna watch it? You, Laker for life? I can't tell you when the World Cup is. He's the ambassador. Is he performing? Is he performing? Will everybody's eyes be glued on the World Cup? No. Everybody's eyes are glued on the Super Bowl. How much does it cost to get a commercial on the World Cup. But let me not get distracted. Let's keep talking about LL Cool J. LL Cool J is the GOAT. Is he the GOAT? Y'all let me know in the comments what you feel about LL Cool J, if you feel like he's the GOAT. If not, I think this album, The Force, check it out if you haven't already. This is a worthy debate to where he's the greatest of all time. Actively putting out albums since 1985, before I was born, still putting out albums now, great quality. It's very, very debatable to see if he's the GOAT. All right, let me get back to the comments. Since y'all want to talk about Drake, you said, I sincerely think that something is to be said about how the newer artists are demonstrating the sticking power that the old heads have shown. This includes legacy old heads and younger ones like Cole. Yep, I agree. And I salute LL because of that. Like, he's able to adapt. He's always been able to adapt within the culture. Like, think about this, man, you know how hard it is to have rapped in the 80s and transcend into the 90s? Just that right there. Then rapping from the 90s to go into the 2000s, that's a lot. That's a lot. You say, yeah, because the world is bigger than the US. The world doesn't exist. Bro, you still upset about this Drake thing, man? I mean, yeah, the world watches the Super Bowl and the World Cup, but that's not what advertisers go to. I can guarantee you an ad on the Super Bowl costs way more than the ad on the damn World Cup. Be serious, bro. Serious question. Do you think Drake will ever play the Super Bowl? He's definitely worthy, body of work. I think he could for sure. Oh, yeah, for sure. Drake could do it before Kendrick. Yeah, he could. The question is, will they pick him to do it, though? All this complaining that they doing makes you not want to see Drake at the damn Super Bowl. But yeah, he definitely could. Shout out to Ashley. You said what I miss. Yes, I love LL. Man, we've been talking about this whole Drake thing. With Kendrick performing at the Super Bowl. Laker for life is crashing out like DJ Academics right now. Oh, you said are not demonstrating. Yeah, we've been talking about that. But one more thing I want